Hello everyone. So in today's video, we will see what a CTE or common table expression is. So before starting with CTE, let's understand the concept of views in SQL. So what view is? It is basically a virtual table which does not actually stores the data, but it stores the definition of the SQL query which we execute. Or in simple language, we can say that it is storing reflection of subset of the original table. So let's try to understand it using the examples. So let's say select start from employees where salary greater than 50. Or let's say we can just select employee name and salary. So for some reason we are using this query to filter out the employees having salary more than 50,000, and we are using it multiple times for some purpose. So this becomes a repetitive process. So rather what we can do is we can create a view for this thing and we can use that view instead. So this basically is a subset of a table. We don't have your employee ID, we just have employee name and salary. And also we don't have all the records. We are having only records which we need. So let's try and create a view. So create view. Let's give it a name as salary employees. As so this is a syntax for the view in which we start with create view. We give a name to the view followed by as keyword, and then we write a query, a SQL query, basically a select sequence query, and we can write multiple filters. We can have group by or anything else in it, and it will get stored in our memory. So if now I run this query, a view is created, and if I say select start from high salary employee, so here is our result. So what it actually does is it create a view, and we can say it basically creates a different table. So it is not actually creating a table, but we are using it as a new table with name high salary employer, which contain two columns, that is employee name, employee salary, and multiple records. So this is how we create a view. So now let's move on to a city. So what city is? It is same as the view. What happened? Yeah, so city is similar thing as a view. Just the difference between city and view is view, as I said, the view is created and it is stored in memory so that we can use it repeatedly. But city is created only until the query execution is completed. Once the query execution is done, the city is removed from the memory. So what I meant to say is let's try to create a city. So and it's similar thing for a city too. So we start a city with keyword with CTE name as. So let's give it a name as high salary employees city as, and we write a query in the braces. So let's write the same query here. Uh, let's format it, and now if I say select star from highest paid employee city, and if I run it, oh, there is some error. It is the error. Yes. So yeah, you are getting the same output. But this city exists only till this query is executed. So if I try to comment this out, and now if I try to select star from highest salary employee, and if I run this, it will say there is no table as high salary employee. But when we were doing the same thing here, it says there is, it basically returns the output. So here we can see that view is stored in memory, but city is only for a particular query. It is a query level thing. Once the query execution is done, it basically what we can say, it is removed from the memory and it no longer exists. So if we try to drop a view, it's something like a table, so we can drop it, drop view salary employees, and if I run this, we have successfully dropped it. And now, if we run this query, it says no such tables. So, here is the major difference between the city and view. So, now let's dive deep into a city. So, as we have learned, we can create a city like this. Let's try to solve the same problem in from our previous video, in which we are finding the highest paid employees. List details of highest paid employee. So what we can do? So let's first see the old query which we have created. So we were using select star from employees where salary equal to, and then we were using subquery like select salary from employees order where salary in descending and limit one. If we run this query, we will get the highest paid employee. So let's try to solve this same thing using city. So what we can do is rather than writing this query, I can copy it and put it into a city. So with and let's give it a name as highest salary as and inside braces we can write this query. And now what we can do is let's select star from employees where salary equal to select star from highest salary. And what we are doing here is we have taken this subquery outside into our city and created a city, so we can treat this highest salary as a new table which contains only this part. So if I comment this out and let's see what a city is contain. Select star from highest salary. So we can see it has created a new table with single row and single column. So we can treat highest salary as a table and then we can use it into our subquery. Now if we run our subquery, we will get the highest paid employee. So this is how we replace our subquery with a city. So like we are having subquery, so then why do we need a city? So before answering that, let's try to solve another question. That was to find the second highest salary. So basically, employee having second highest salary. So what was our solution? We were using select star from employees where salary equal to, and we used to write a subquery where select salary from employees where salary not equal to some salary order by salary in descending and limited to 1. And inside this, we were writing another subquery, which was select salary from employees, order by salary in descending and limit 1. What his query returns is the second highest salary, that is 95,000 Kunal. So we here are using two subqueries, and then we are finding out a second highest employer. So rather than using subquery, let's try to build city. Uh, so let's go ahead, create a city, first city for this thing, that is the first highest salary. So with the highest salary as, and in braces we write our query, select staff from employees, order by salary, descending, and limit 1. So let's say select staff from highest salary. So what is written is this thing. Yeah, so it is written, but we just need salary, so we'll write salary. Yeah. So we will get 1 lakh as a highest salary. And one more thing, we can create multiple cities in a single query. And how we can do is we can separate it using comma, and we can give other name like second highest salary as, and we can use a process to write a second city. So in second city we will write select salary from employees where salary not equal to something order by salary in descending and limit it to 1. So previously what we were doing is we were writing another subquery here, and it was this subquery. So now rather than writing all of this subquery as we have already written it here, what we can do is we can use highest salary directly here. So what will I do is select star from highest salary. So we are basically reusing the above code and not writing all of this query into it. And if we check what our second highest salary is, and if we run the query, it's 95,000. So here we have divided our query into two parts. Firstly, we are calculating highest salary, and using this highest salary, we are calculating our second highest salary. And finally, now we need to calculate or find a final answer. We will basically what we will do is we will say select star from employees where salary equal to, and here we will write a subquery select star from second highest salary. And if we now run our query, it must return us the employee with second highest salary. So here we have solved our problem with the city approach. Now you might be thinking that we are creating a city, two cities, and then again using a subquery concept only. So it is more easier to directly use the subquery. Yes, here it is easier, but in real world scenario when you are working on a huge data, Your query would not be this smaller. In this city, it might be a case that your one city consists of 50 lines, other city contains of 100 lines, and this 50, it is better to have a city or a separate code for the particular logic rather than writing a subquery. So if we see here we can see the code is most smaller than this city code, but it is a nested code and it is very difficult to understand. Now it is a smaller code, so we can decode it, but when the code is of 100 lines or our query is for 100 lines or 200 lines, it is very difficult for us to basically see or debug our query, as it takes a lot of nets. There might be a lot of nested subqueries, and we don't know what each subquery does. We need to debug it from granular layer, and we need to debug it continuously. So what city advantage of city is, rather than debugging it, we can, if like here we see we are using something as highest salary, and the name itself specify it that there is something which is having a highest salary. And also to debug it, we can directly go here and see what the code does. So it is much neater and cleaner query rather than a subquery, and it basically divides the query into different parts, and each part contains a particular logic. So, in SQL, it is very useful to learn the city and solve the problems using city, as we can break down the problems using city and keep every part of logic separately or create a separate city which acts as a separate table here, and then we can combine everything to get our final output. So this is our final output. And if we try to debug, it is very easy. Like we are seeing where salary is and we are using this thing. So now we will debug this part, this city, and in this city we will see there is this part. So we will debug this city. It was difficult for me to debug here. So I was seeing this whole query, then I was trying to read this thing, and then I tried to see this thing, which is very, basically we can say a bottom-up approach. But here we are trying a top-down approach where we are going a part by part, and also the name of the city only suggests what the city might do. So naming convention is also a good habit and good practice which we must follow. So yes, that was it for today's video. So if you are having any doubts, you can comment it down. And thank you for your watching this video.